Welcome back to the Square. I'm your host, Curtis the Fifth.
I'm Curtis the Fourth.
The new league year is upon us. It is official. It's past 4 p.m. Eastern time on the 16th, so we are officially in 2022-2023 NFL season, and we've already had 3 days of just insanity. I think that is the nicest way to play it.
Yeah, you can miss me with this legal tampering thing. We was already discussing this all. I'm like, come on. I'm looking at reports that getting on the internet, not on the internet. I'm out here talking like an idiot, telling people, man, didn't you hear about it? No, I ain't heard nothing about it. You know why? Because it didn't happen. Yet, I seen it. I caught the little window of time and caught these little bogus reports that was out here. You know, Jarvis Landry, you've been all over the country. and obviously you've been nowhere. You know, all at the same time. So, with that being said, yeah, it has been madness.
Well, let's get into the official moves.
Yes.
The real ones. Yeah, I think the best way to go about this is by position, I would assume. I think.
I would have said unless you want to do by team. I don't know if you had to populate.
Oh, no. That's a whole nother mess. I think actually, I do.
There's a chart.
Yeah, I got it.
I don't know if that made it any easier.
Not really. I think my overarching sentiment, and I mentioned to you before,
mm-hmm.
just Jacksonville and New York, the Jets are ruining free agency for me. They're really putting a damper on things.
Share your thoughts over there.
They're trash, and they're not going anywhere. Jacksonville, I kind of understand, especially after Carson Wentz got traded, and we'll get to that in a second. That the AFC South is wide open, and you've got the best young quarterback in the division, and Trevor Lawrence. And yes, you want to go all in to try to see what you got in that prospect and what he can really do and really maximize his talent. Got it. Fine. Whatever. Cool. But you're still trash. You're still a trash organization with a trash team that is not going to
JV division. Good Lord.
Yeah, God, it's horrible. But somebody's got to win it.
No offense to Indianapolis.
No offense, because you traded away Carson Wentz, which is fine, but you had no plan afterwards. No plan.
Oh man, that's a tough breaks for you, guy Carson Wentz again. Oh my God.
I feel like me and Dan Orlovsky keeps getting this notion that he is our guy.
That's your dude. Okay. You endorsed this man one time. I'm like, that's your guy.
Hey, the numbers support what I said last year, and
ain't supporting your arguments much further at this point.
I'm
finding it comical that
I will say there's one
say that he's getting away from which was a toxic situation in that moment.
Yeah,
and the more,
but I think it followed him.
Himself. Yeah, it just keeps finding him some kind of way. And I'm like, this dude seems like he's really trying to do the right thing, and he can't get out of his own way for some reason or another.
Well, and I think a lot of people in Indianapolis were pissed off because he tried, and it was like, what? Like they're really mad about the fact that they lost their first round pick but didn't make the playoffs. And it's like, okay, this dude fought through both 2 ankle sprains on the same damn play, continued to play through that. He had that fracture in his foot that came from some freak accident from his high school playing days. Mm-hmm. That did the same thing to Quentin Nelson. You're not mad at Quentin Nelson for it. Right. Like, and he continued to get hit. He was under the most pressure for the first half of the season. So all of that stuff compiling, and he fought so hard to stay on the field all year long. There was a couple of times, especially down that stretch, that those 2 games with the Raiders and the Jacksonville Jaguars, yes, a lot of, especially with the Jacksonville Jaguar game, I'm not going to give any excuses for that. But hey, they built a 21-6 lead against the Raiders, and they couldn't stop the Raiders in the second half to save their damn lives. No. Defensively, that's not his fault. That's not Carson Wentz's fault.
Gotta be somebody's fault. You know they ain't gonna blame the quarterback, whether because they needed a scapegoat.
But I felt like it was exactly that, a scapegoat. And it that's what frustrates me about it. Like, we're not, just like with Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers and that whole situation, mm-hmm. We're not putting Carson Wentz in the proper perspective. I'm not saying he's the greatest quarterback of all time. I'm not saying that he's even a Super Bowl worthy quarterback anymore at this point.
Mm-hmm.
But he has been good. He is. I feel like he should be under the same light as Jimmy G. A dude that can come in. He's a game manager. He's not going to F it up, because last year he was 24-7,
mm-hmm.
Touchdown to interception ratio. He took care of the ball more than anybody, and that was everybody's huge gripe with him. He tries to do too much, and he turns the ball over all the time. He didn't do that last year. He really did not do that last year.
He helped set Indianapolis on the right course, and really helped steer them back in the right direction. Yes, they had
Phillip Rivers
the year before, and let's be real, Phillip Rivers was a game manager. He was a placeholder.
Yeah.
I mean, and he looked like that. Not he didn't
he
look
came
bad.
into the
You
season
understood
saying, hey,
what
this
he was.
This is going to be my last year.
Right. We understood what he was doing. He was holding the reins until they can get the next guy. You swing for the fences and you go grab this guy early, and you have success with him overall. Now they say we just missed the playoffs. I don't know about you, and I know you did. I'm just very rhetorical, but I don't know about you. To the listeners, did you see that freaking schedule last year?
It's horrible. They had one of the toughest schedules in all the
and
NFL.
They only missed the playoffs by one game. They should have lost it by 5 games.
And again, that Jacksonville Jaguar game is no excuse for Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz,
I wasn't even factoring.
trash.
I wasn't even factoring that. And it took.
But you shouldn't have been in that situation.
And I was going to say, and it took a debacled, a botched approach in week 18. Oh my God.
It's hard to say, right?
We in the freaking playoffs at this point, yeah. You know,
basically, hey,
it was the play-in.
It was the playoffs for them.
It was a playing game.
Yeah.
I win and you win. You know, like what the hell? You know, okay. Barring all of that, are you seriously went back to the drawing board, went back into the war room and said, "Let's move on." That's the consensus that y'all came up with.
And even if that was the consensus you came up with, fine. But before you leave that room, hey, we're moving on. But what's next?
No, that's the whole
Chris
point.
Ballard, Frank Reich, what is ever his name is, the owner over there? Jim Irsay. You guys are all sitting in that room, and everybody said, all right, Carson Wentz, we're ready to move on. They all came to some sort of agreement, some sort of consensus about that. Cool. But, all right, what is the next plan? Who is the next quarterback? He's not on the roster. I'm sorry, Jacob Eason is not the answer.
No.
Truly, I mean, we watched him play. He was trash. He was worse than Carson Wentz.
No, he's supposed to hold a clipboard, help with the play calling for right now. He's not ready. And
no.
You can keep him on the team, and that's as much as I'm going to say about them. But that's it. No, he's not the answer. He's not the next man up. He's not ready. As you said, they don't have a plan. Now I'm confused. What the hell is going on in Indianapolis?
Because now what it sounds like the plan is whoever's left over from the Deshaun Watson shuffle, that's going to be the guy that they're going to trade for. And it's like, okay, so you're just at the mercy of Deshaun Watson's situation actually being figured out?
Yeah, and the thing that's confusing me the most is why isn't y'all name in the hat? I don't understand it.
Well, because
they make
Houston's in the same division.
So?
There's no way. Houston is not going to see. They don't want to see him anymore. That's not going to happen. What you said is perfectly fine. They did say, "Hey, what's it going to take?" to them, and they said no. That is a report that's already out there. They came out. They said, "Hey, we want him."
They need the chorus with 2 other teams in some massive 14 trade that finds Deshaun Watson finding his way. Not in the front end of the conversation, but somewhere in the back end of the conversation, he makes his way back to Indianapolis. I'm just saying, you give up the house.
I was thinking about it once the Deshaun Watson situation was figured out. Well, criminally was figured out. I was like, okay, well, where would I like to see him? And I was like, Pittsburgh. But Pittsburgh's already said they don't want him anymore. And we'll get into who they really wanted in a second. But regardless of that, I was like, oh, Indy, I would love to see Deshaun Watson in that royal blue. That would be perfect. And then I was like, oh, wait a minute. No, that's not gonna work. There's no way Houston's gonna go for that. They have to see him twice a year, just carve them up. That's just not gonna happen. They're not gonna ever let that happen.
Willing to sit for 1 year with him. Why not? I mean, yeah, what's worse than? I mean, I don't think anything's worse.
What's worse than that is getting him beating your brains in against that crap defense that they've got over there.
No, Houston's already been notoriously bad. It's not coming as a shock. You know what I'm saying? It's not like you're turning the tides of your franchise.
You got to also take in the owner and the GM's ego.
Just saying.
They've got egos too, and they're just sitting here looking at this.
You trade him right down the street, and he do what he does, and
Indianapolis should not be in the
ain't gonna
AFC
change
South.
Houston at all. Houston's still gonna have 5 wins next year. You know, with him or without him. You know, it just doesn't. That's not even. That makes it sound like Deshaun Watson sucks. No, Deshaun Watson just was a victim of.
I mean, hey, 2
having
years
no
ago they were
pieces.
halfway through the season they were 2-6. Team was bad, and it wasn't Deshaun Watson's fault.
No. I remember I had him on my fantasy team.
Yeah.
Oh God, horrible year.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk about the quarterbacks that have been traded and moved before have let go of the Deshaun Watson situation right now. Carson Wentz, as we were talking about, he did get traded away. Indianapolis shipped him off to Washington. The Commanders have their new guy at the helm.
Wow.
Is it Carson Wentz, or is it going to be a QB battle between him and Taylor Heineke? Because for people,
stop. No, we're not doing this. Carson Wentz.
So
is
you
the starter.
also don't like Taylor Heineke?
Oh no, I don't have a problem with him. I've warmed up to him in my fantasy year.
Okay, I really like Taylor Heineke.
He's no, not like that.
No, I like him as just like
he's a nice placeholder.
He's fun to watch too.
Right, and he's one of those tweener guys. Like, okay, he does. You get him 5 starts a year, he might get you 3 to 4 wins.
He'll do what Teddy Bridgewater did for New Orleans.
I'm just saying, in a short sample, he's one of these like middle relievers type quarterbacks, and I'm like, that's a rare. So he has a very special skill set, not like that people don't.
Young version of Chase Daniel.
Absolutely, and Chase Daniels got re-signed with somebody, and I can't.
Chargers.
Moving on. I'm just waiting.
I'm on top of it over here.
I'm just waiting for Herbert to stumble. Like, let's go, Chase.
I mean, he was there last year too.
I mean,
and I think that does attribute to Justin Herbert's development. Chase Daniel is one of the best QB coaches in the league. I mean, you think back to when he was with Chicago. He helped Mitch Trubisky do that 2018 season.
Yeah, and then he went out there and showed me. Let me show you how.
He did too.
And showed this dude. I'm like, oh my God, you just exposed the Bears and set them back another 10 years. Our best player is our backup. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, Chase Daniel was. I really like him. Regardless, speaking of Mitch Trubisky,
are you freaking serious?
Out here in the Steel City. Gets a 2-year deal, $14.2 million. Mason Rudolph, see ya. Dwayne Haskins, see ya. Just not even like this is Mike Tomlin saying, I did not have the guy on the roster. Everything that I had been saying about Pittsburgh came true. They did not have a good quarterback on the roster last year. Not a single good one.
And Mike Tomlin values his job in this and I'm just gonna say, and they went with these options that they had. Mike Tomlin was finally going to get his name out there on the chopping block. And once you get out there, you don't necessarily
coming back.
You really don't. I mean,
it's just a matter of time.
The only thing that can stop that is a Super Bowl. You're never in position to do that, so therefore it doesn't even exist. And that's what I'm trying to say. I think he was like, screw this. And my point of saying that is to grab Mitchell Trubisky. If that does not speak to the levels of desperation on a very, very deep level, not so much blatantly like we'll just take anybody, but you have to really understand. I'm not saying Trubisky is the answer. He's definitely better than what
I was going to say. Mason Rudolph is the answer.
But there were some better options out there this early. This is super early, by the way. We're on day 1. Like, you've already signed him before.
We're on day 4.
That's what I'm trying to get. That's what I'm getting. And it's like, okay, like what fell through? They must have found out we have no assets to trade.
Well, so Aaron Rodgers fell through, obviously.
I don't know. I guess they're going to trade everything for him, but I'm like, what would you realistically trade for Jimmy G? Which I've already said I didn't even think would have been a good fit anyway. But I just don't think he's a good fit.
If I wanted to go after
who else
Jimmy
was you going to trade for? I was just saying because you would have to trade for him. But
yeah, but I mean, they only gave up. I mean, they didn't have to give up anything for Mitch Trubisky. So I mean, you're looking at that. You're like,
I get it.
But even if you wanted it,
we talking about technically a playoff team. I'm gonna say continue.
They were a
playoff team.
They got trounced.
They want to stay in the playoff hunt. It's like, okay, you in day -2, you decide Mitchell Trubisky. We got our guy. I looked at it was gonna be a quarterback competition, and which I think ultimately he will win the job, but they have to be thinking about a contingency plan because even beyond him, I just found it to be an interesting signing. Like, wow.
I like it. I do. I truly like it. I've
the first time I've seen Pittsburgh go cheap. from a market standard.
But
value.
I mean, you also have to look. I mean, yes, Jimmy Garoppolo was out there, and that's perfectly fine. The only other guy that I would say that free agency wise is like a guy to really go after. Two other guys to talk about would be Teddy Bridgewater and Tyrod Taylor. Everybody else, to me, I'm just like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah,
I mean, I know Jameis
and
Winston
they-
is out there, but he's
and-
injured.
And for whatever reason, I'm just gonna assume Pittsburgh was just like, that's not our guy. That's not the kind of guy we want, and that's fine. It's just, but you're limiting yourself because beyond, like I said, a Jimmy G or a Deshaun Watson, you're gonna have to find what you're looking for is in a trade. It's not in free agency. You know,
Yeah.
there's nobody out there, and I'm not knocking the Mitchell Trubisky. I'm actually like, damn, I did not think he was gonna get a chance that soon.
I did not expect it to be day one.
I thought. I'm talking about this whole year. I thought he would just. I'm just gonna let me sit up under Josh Allen and be groomed for a second year.
That wasn't
and
going to
build
happen because
himself
he was
into like the next class.
There was already going into day one of the legal tampering period. They were talking about him getting a $10 million deal, and I was just like,
I was playfully talking about this thing with the Giants, and then all of a sudden, the Giants were heavily pursuing him.
Yeah.
I'm like, whatever you do, Mitchell Trubisky,
don't go there. That's
you
the end of your
ever
career. That
want
is the end of your
look
career.
at the long game here. Do not take the short, quick money.
And he really did, because he got Pittsburgh, 2-year deal with Pittsburgh for one. And on top of that, I mean, he gave them a discount because he was getting a market rate of $10 million a year. This is 7.1 a year.
Yeah, because he was going to have a first class exit out of the league when he went.
True.
That was a
but
trap.
now he's also in a situation where you're getting coached by Mike freaking Tomlin.
That's what I'm trying to say. There's more validity. I mean, and this is the Jets. The Giants have a rich history.
They're the same. I don't know why you try to correct it. They're the same thing.
The way they're playing. The Giants actually have a notable and a very. I mean, they have a prideful history. The Jets have like this prideful moment with Joe Namath way in the 60s, way before even my time.
Yeah.
You know, so there's no connection to anything in the NFL with the Jets. But with the Giants, I'm like, they've had multiplicity of success in different decades and so on and so forth. We're down in that down period, and unfortunately right now it doesn't help them at all. But I was just saying to myself, do not do the Kenny Galladay deal. Don't Galladay yourself here. And because
let's talk about who did go.
Okay.
Because
congrats to Mr. Trubisky. I'm
gonna say congrats to Pittsburgh, because I think that there were only two other guys that I really think that are truly better than them.
Mm-hmm.
But both of those guys you have to give up a ton of assets for: Deshaun Watson and Jimmy Garoppolo.
Okay.
And outside of that, the rest of the free agents, I'm taking Mitch Trubisky. I'm perfectly fine with the situation Pittsburgh has in Chicago. I'm good, but just with the situation that he has over there, Pittsburgh situation. Yes, let's take Mitch Trubisky. Let's upgrade where we are at.
Mm-hmm.
We already made the playoffs with. I think Mitch Trubisky was a better quarterback than Ben Roethlisberger has been for the last 2 years. So, and that's with him sitting for a year under Josh Allen, and that's with his last year and with Matt Nagy in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm going to say this: Ben Roethlisberger was bad for the last 3-4 years, and it's not been good. The reason why those teams make the playoffs is because of their defense. And so, with that being said, I think Mitch Trubisky is an upgrade over Ben Roethlisberger. He's an upgrade over the two guys that they have in the room right now. And hey, they've got a chance at making the playoffs again next year and trying to jostle for position in this AFC North that's getting better and better every single day. And now Cleveland looks like they're regressing back to Cleveland of yore. And we've got Baltimore. They're trying to get bulked up again, trying to respond back from that disappointing season last year. And Cincinnati's trying to tinker and really try to make a play at being the kings of the AFC North. So we'll see if Pittsburgh can try to stay in that fight and kind of use Mitch Trubisky as that kind of holding pattern type guy. And hopefully Mitch Trubisky can revitalize his career and possibly get one of these other NFC jobs next season or the year after by basically putting on tape some good film with Pittsburgh.
That's definitely a possibility, and we will see. I find I find his career interesting
Yeah.
overall. He had a very interesting career, and he has the potential of just okay. Best way to describe it, you know, what he reminds me of. I'm saying, as far as where his career is going, what his potentiality and the hype and this and that, he's a Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah.
And for what and I know that's not a knock. It's just kind of like,
And
I
Chris
like.
Collinsworth actually did a little bit of comparison. His numbers are better than Ryan Tannehill's career.
Need to say more. I'm just
So
Tannehill has just had a little bit more flash, pop, and sizzle.
Yeah.
When it was all said and done.
So that's that. So that deal has been done. Let's go through a couple of the other ones. This one absolutely blows my mind. Minnesota, what the hell are we doing giving Kirk Cousins a 1 year, $35 million fully guaranteed extension? What is happening?
Is this some way where the new coach and the new GMs come in and they just how they secure their job and not take a hit for whatever this guy's going to do in this year? Where it was just like for 1 year, let's just on the house, let's just
fully guaranteed.
Just,
what are we doing?
I don't know. And I haven't known ever since. Look, I've had an issue with this contract. I have an issue with bad contracts.
This is a horrible contract.
This because again, Kirk Cousins has the Derrick Rose contract. You cap strapped. You can't build, but yet he was one of the key building blocks. And then you get him, you solidify him, you pay him, and then the entire process of development stops because you don't have any cash to do anything else.
Yeah.
It's going to be addition by subtraction, and by looking at what they did in the first few days, they're already behind us. They're already behind the 8 ball. You know, they're not keeping up with the pace, even though this is officially day one, and you've done nothing really. I mean,
not a single damn thing. They're strapped right now. I really
signing a punter. Are you serious? I mean,
I don't get it.
I see why you're gonna need them. You know, we're gonna be doing a lot of punting this year.
Yeah.
It's just if it speaks to just the tone of what's going on over there, it's like they're gonna seriously have. It's what the hell. But they're seriously. I'm just gonna finish my thought. But they seriously are going to. To me, I think they're gonna hide behind this new staffing. Like, let's just hide behind that for the first year while we figure it out. Because I don't think they figured it out, and I understand that you just changed over your entire management aspects and your management team in the direction that you're going. I think that's exactly what it looks like. But then I look at what they've done. This is exactly what that would look like. You don't even know what direction they're going to be. Who do we sign? We just signing the obvious stuff. These signings could have came, I don't know, 2-3 months from now. You don't even, this could be after the draft. This is not even, we needed to grab these people right now. No, you really didn't. And now going back to the biggest one, this Kirk Cousins thing. I can't answer your question because I think this is going to be the curse of what they got themselves into in this whole sweepstakes, dating back to what was going on in Washington. It's just, I don't know what it is about this guy. He's this middle of the road guy who has these flashes that can show you that he's this franchise quarterback, and he is by his own very right. He's in that Matt Ryan category for me. Just.
Worse than that, Ryan, to me.
No, hear me out though. He's not a game manager, but he's not a prototypical, sexy starting, franchise quarterback. He's in between that. Whatever that is, it's a very weird gray area. And him and Matt Ryan lives there, specifically, like poster childs. My point being is, you don't know, it leaves you at a place where you don't know how to pay him. Or if we lose him, then someone else is going to pay him. The point being is this fool's going to get paid based on some kind of scarcity need that's going on in the league, and you are like the top candidate. And for whatever reason, it propels you probably above 5 or 6 other quarterbacks that are definitely and absolutely skilled beyond you. And yet, on the pay scale, you know what I'm saying? It's more about he's getting paid to stay, not so much paid to bring you in type of thing. If that makes sense. It's just like we gotta pay him to keep him.
That's what I have an issue with. Why keep him? That doesn't make any sense to me. He hasn't hasn't propelled you to win any playoff games. He has not been good in prime time. He has not brought in more tickets. He hasn't made this team relevant. The team isn't good. The team sucks.
Kirk Cousins is just a really good guy, and Minnesota, I don't know if you know this. I mean, being that you live in here, it's just a little different than everywhere else. And even in how they deal with their players on these teams, where it's almost like they run it like it's just if it's just some low.
Don't do the Green Bay thing. Do not give them
like
an excuse.
Like it's like it's a family. And
no.
I'm saying where it's Kirk, and we're gonna pay the man. We're even gonna pay an extension for you.
It's a real family when you kick out Stephon Diggs 2 years ago, and now he's actually out here.
Hey, I never said
killing
it was
the league.
harmonious family.
Yeah.
I'm like, he's that strained.
We got some other ones to talk about. Teddy Bridgewater, 1 year, $6.5 million. He's going to. I think he's going to play in Miami, but he's got a deal. He's
not on my watch,
up.
Deshaun Watson.
He's backing up Tua over there.
Is he really? Or
that's what I'm saying. I think he's going to take the job.
He's coming to take that job.
Colt McCoy, he resigns. He will be the backup to Kyler Murray over there. 2 years, $7. I don't know, but he played very well. When Kyler Murray went down.
2 games, I guess.
2 games. Kyler Murray was out for like 3-4 weeks. Regardless, Tyrod Taylor also
2-2.
goes ahead and takes a deal in the New York Giants organization. 2 years, $11 million. I don't like it for him. But the big one, the one that happened before even all of this other stuff happened. Oh, well, let's get out of the way. Aaron Rodgers, extension, 3 years, $150 million over there. I think that this is just a 1 year re-up. In my opinion, yes, it says 3 years on paper, but at this point, what I think is going to happen is this is just, we're running it back one more time. Hopefully, Devontae Adams comes back, is what Aaron Rodgers is hoping. We'll try it again. If it doesn't work, we'll reevaluate. I think we're going to be in the same boat next year about him getting traded, but regardless.
Nothing changed.
Yeah. And then finally, Russell Wilson traded out of Seattle, off to Denver. This was the big one.
Love it.
Let me just give the trade details. He was traded, and also Denver gets back with Russell Wilson a 2022 fourth-round pick. Seattle is going to receive a 2022 first, second, and fifth, a 2023 first and second, and then Drew Lock, Noah Fant, and defensive lineman Shelby Harris is the full extent of that trade.
And I thought, just on face value, when I first heard it when this broke, I was like, man, Denver got over big time. And then I heard Noah Fant was a part of that. That just changed everything for me. I'm like, oh, wow. I'm like, if nothing else, I'm like, y'all lost Russell Wilson, but goddamn, y'all got a bag in return. I mean, they got
a lot back, but you ain't got nobody to throw the ball.
No. I understand that. The issue that really, it's not even so much they lost Russell Wilson. It's the state of what that team was when he walked away.
True.
Y'all have so many holes to fill. It almost saturates the deal. But the deal just on the standalone value, that's a freaking deal. That's how you, if I have to part with Russell Williams, you better give me all kinds of picks. You better give me even ready to go players in very key positions. It's like, I just thought it was, I want to see more trades like this. I don't want to see the Khalil Mack stick.
This is what pisses me off about this trade, though. Seattle, you got quite a better package from Chicago, apparently, last year. But neither here nor there. Pete Carroll, you suck. Let's move on.
Let's no more there.
They're the last guys to talk about with quarterbacks and where they are with free agency and who's left out there. Jameis Winston, Marcus Mariota. This feels like.
Did you hear what there was some chatter about Mariota?
I have not heard of anything.
The links and the possibilities are with the Colts. Indianapolis is looking. Has shown. They have shown some.
You gave up Carson Wentz for Marcus. Okay, whatever.
I just
Ryan
thought you may want to know.
Fitzpatrick, Jacoby. Go get Jacoby Brissett back. And
that's what I'm
Dalton
saying. Because Teddy Bridgewater took his position.
Yeah,
you have a starter technically. If you needed a placeholder, Jacoby Brissett will probably be their best bet.
He took Tua's job.
If you're not, I'm gonna say if you're not going to go after Jimmy G, that's at this point because I'm like they're not gonna like you're saying they're not gonna get Deshaun Watson. What other options you got? Those are your two options.
Yeah,
I'm like, damn, at least land one of them.
whatever. Indy. I really this is a bad look for Chris Ballard, but regardless, let's look at the wide receivers. Mike Williams, he started the whole thing off. He was re-signed on the day that the trade happened for Russell Wilson. He re-signed 3 years, $60 million, $40 million guaranteed.
Tough act to follow, buddy. You get no traction.
Yeah, no, nobody was talking about that. I think it was
we
actually
all
a big
seen
one.
it. We all knew it. We never just talked about it. I'm like, oh, man.
Well, yeah, because I mean, other bigger things happened, but I do think that is a major thing for this free agency market because he was one of the big fish to get in the free agency pool.
That is true.
So he's off the board. Michael Gallup gets a 5-year, $62.5 million deal from Dallas to keep him down there.
Mm-hmm.
Jacksonville, I understand. You've got money to burn, but this Christian Kirk, 4 years, $72 million with the potential of getting it up to $84 million. This is a horrible deal.
Okay, y'all want to ever see what a bad deal looks like or a bad contract on the front end? Here it is.
This is a horrible deal.
This looks so great in his signing and this and that. 2 years from now, it's going to be week 12.
Let me preface it. Great deal for Christian Kirk. Team-wise, Jacksonville, this is stupid.
Yeah, because 2 years from now, you're going to be revisiting this.
And you can't move
with 3 wins.
And you cannot move that contract.
No one's going to take it.
You're going to be stuck just like Minnesota is with Kirk Cousins.
I'm going to say he might not even be in the game. He might be just sitting on the sideline out with an injury.
Collecting a check.
That's what I'm trying to get at. And like this, you all, just because you have the money, don't mean you need to just spend it foolishly.
See, this is funny because they're in the same division. This is the difference between these are two polar opposites. Chris Ballard has all the money and just does not spend it.
Mm-hmm.
Shad Khan and whoever the GM over here in Jacksonville has all the money and they throw it stupidly around, and it doesn't make any sense. Like this is not. I don't think this is going to help Trevor Lawrence. Especially because you lost DJ Chark, who is now off to Detroit on a 1-year, $10 million deal.
That's what I'm saying. Chark for Kirk, not really moving the needle here.
That's down to me.
And yeah, we got Marvin Jones Jr. was probably still on last year, 2 year left. I don't know what his contract is. It doesn't matter. But my point is, yeah, he's still there, but you needed to build above a Marvin Jones, not below him.
Yeah,
Marvin Jones should not still be coming out clearly
the
clear cut
receiver.
number one. No, clear cut. No.
Yeah.
Christian Kirk, on your best day, you are a low end too. On your best days, and that's not a knock. That's just how you've been utilized up until now. Unless you're telling me this man's going to make some monumental jump all of a sudden, which kind of hard to see coming out of Jacksonville. However,
I mean, you were with Arizona where you had nobody was covering you because they were really focused on AJ Green, Zach Ertz, and DeAndre Hopkins. They were locked in on those guys. Christian Kirk had all the time in the world last year to really show out what he really could do, and he never did.
And not to mention the run game that it's
exactly.
exactly.
In a second.
And my point, yeah, as you were saying, you didn't take advantage of that situation. And you didn't take control of it. And it just doesn't give me any confidence that in Jacksonville, all of a sudden, you're going to figure it out. You know, it's just – so I like the pieces and the moves. It definitely makes Jacksonville as a whole a lot better offense. And like you were saying, this is really – if this is what they feel that they needed for Trevor Lawrence, I'll look at it from just that context and that context alone. But just on face value, they're going to have to come better than this.
No. Like I said, DJ Chark, he moved on. He went to Detroit for 1 year, $10 million. Cedric Wilson heads over to Miami. I mean,
come on, Chark. Jacksonville to Detroit. I mean, man.
I'm
gonna say this. Lake of Fire. Like, well, come on, dude. You're still in hell.
I will say this: Detroit has promise. I mean, we saw it last year the way that they were playing. They
fight.
They really did. And they're a fun team to watch. Even though they couldn't win games, they do have.
In all fairness, they were. We seen something. Obviously, something different outside of the losing. But we seen something different. a different jab. Hey, a loss is a loss at the end of the day. I tell any self-respecting Detroit fan knows this. But with that being said, the way you losing, I like your style now. At least they taking it on the chin at this point. They're not just taking it.
Yeah.
You know.
All right. All right. But I see this as a good deal for DJ Chark and the fact that
I
you're
like
getting.
it. I like it for Detroit.
Yeah, I
It's
like
a
it for both
weapon.
sides. You're getting $10 million. You get a guy that can play. You're only giving up $10 million. It's a nice deal for him. $10 million to just, hey, this is a stopgap year. You can try to prove what you can here, and then
him and
move on.
St. Brown. No, that might have a nice little.
It's not bad.
That's what I'm saying. It's not. I'm not gonna knock it. Now we always get back to the quarterback. Now, like, okay, we still got to deal with this noodle armed guy. You know.
Well, hey, they can address that in the draft, and we'll see who they go for. they better not draft a quarterback this year. They need to go draft Aiden Hutchinson.
They don't want to expose the man any further. They draft a quarterback. Now we got a full blown quarterback competition that's legit. Like this dude might actually be better than you. You know, like just.
All right.
Detroit.
All right. Cedric Wilson heads off from Dallas. He's going to head over to Miami. 3 years, $22.8 million.
I'm sitting there talking about this dude was supposed to be number 3. He about to make the step and all this and that. He ain't even there.
No. And Dallas is in – they have been taking a hit, and we'll get into the biggest hit that they took in a bit here. It's on the other side of the football. But lastly
they're one of my 2 surprise slide teams of next year.
Yeah. Well, it's not a surprise to me because they kept the damn head coach.
I have another one, but it's a doozy.
All right.
Yeah.
Last 2 guys, quickly, Josh Gordon, he gets to stay with Kansas City this year, so he got a new deal there. And then Amari Cooper gets traded from Dallas over to Cleveland. They traded him with a 6th-round pick to get back a 2022 5th-rounder and a 6th round. They basically did a pick swap in the 6th round for this year. So You're telling me Amari Cooper's only worth a 5th-round pick?
Obviously, according to this deal, I want to call bullshit on this.
Like, and this is exactly why Jerry Jones cannot be a GM. That's all I got to say. You talk
about the legal tampering, and I'm finding collusion in some of these deals, like the Khalil Mack deal, and now the Amari Cooper deal. These were 2 back-to-back horrible deals. Let me explain what a horrible deal is. When one team gets everything and the other team gets nothing, you're telling me you tell me, how did the team that got nothing get coerced into that? How did they get duped into not getting anything? How did they walk away saying we're much better off now than when we started this? You're never gonna sell me on that. This is what I think
they screwed themselves over because you came out, Jerry Jones, saying, "Oh yeah, we're gonna have to cut Amari Cooper." You just came out and freaking said it, and then you're like, "Oh wait, there's a whole another transaction that we could do here. Let's try to trade him." And then they put him out there on the radio. It's like, well, you're gonna cut him, so
right,
to keep him off of that list, just ship him over here. We'll give you a 5th-round pick for him. And it was just like, what are you doing, Jerry? Like, you're a businessman. You've been in football for, 40, 50-plus years now?
Mm-hmm.
You know how this operates. You know how this works.
Let me explain something. Jerry Jones
is the worst GM in NFL history.
He's proven to me one thing about what has happened over the course of his entire career. He got damn lucky at the beginning of his buying into the Cowboys. You landed a few good players. You had a good little run for about 5 years. The rest of this, let me be very clear. Their heyday has turned into an outlier, and a lot of people do not want to call it for what it is. That was an outlier for you, as far as your career as an owner. You haven't done anything outside of that little pocket of time that I got to witness from start to finish. And it came and it went, and it has been this crazy narrative ever since of us just backtracking.
You know what's crazy about
Cowboys? Like we're backtracking Green Bay's heyday, and like, let this nostalgic nonsense go, because you don't even see it in the 49ers. You want to know why? Because the 49ers learned how to get to the Super Bowl and be relevant from one generation and one decade to the next. They know how to.
What you just said proved my point.
Go ahead.
Jerry Jones is the worst GM ever because that time during that heyday, he had to give up the power. He had to let these head coaches and the head coaches who were making the decisions, basically head coach GMs at the time, he had to let them do their job. He was told to kick rocks. You hired me to do this. Let me do my job during that time. And that's when they won. And ever since he's taken back that power and never relinquished it back to anybody, they cannot do it. He cannot field a team that's going to go to the Super Bowl. And if he's going to continue to act this way, that he is going to retire, pass on, whatever you want to call it, he will not have one by the end of his lifespan. He's not going to get another one.
And I think we discussed. Yeah, I don't agree. I'm seeing it. I agree. I see it the same way, which is why I was like, I was so all in on them winning last year. Like, this is it. This is their window. And
I wasn't all in on them winning. I was all.
no,
I'm in on
to
the
Super
team.
Bowl, not the whole.
Yeah.
I was talking. Remember, I was. This
Oh, you
Chiefs
wanted to see them, yeah.
Cowboys matchup type of thing. But I was saying this was their window, and they missed it. Completely missed it.
Well, back to these deals. Just who's left for free agency in regards to, I guess this is day one, moving into day two now. Who's left on the board? Allen Robinson. Big names in the wide receivers are still out there. Allen Robinson's on the board. Antonio Brown, who I actually think is going to go to Baltimore. Odell Beckham, Juju Smith-Schuster, Will Fuller's out there, Jamison Crowder's still out there, MVS is out there, Sammy Watkins, Keelan Cole, AJ Green, Jarvis Landry, Julio Jones was just released today as well. So
and his name in there for now.
Yeah, so we got guys on the wide receiver market. Chicago, get somebody, please. Give Justin Fields a guy, please. Odell Beckham, please. I would love to see that. Odell Beckham with Darnell Mooney on the other side. God, that is a freaking pipe.
We're not getting him in week 1 or anything like that.
I'm fine with it. We're not going anywhere next year. I want to see the development of Justin Fields, and if
they don't have a building I don't like it if they're gonna just get him and that's it. And
not
Chicago.
Yes,
Chicago's MO. They'll just get him and stop there.
I know. That goes without saying.
Then he's gonna be toxic on Chicago. Chicago's gonna make a thing about him. I'm just not a good fit right now.
Moving to running backs.
Oh, God, they're just not ready to get in there and start getting their hands dirty yet. Just not yet. I know they still.
They got to do something
with Golden Boy Justin Fields over here. And I understand what you're saying. I've seen this too many times. And they finna F it up. I just got this eerie feeling because it's been 4 days and they have done nothing.
They've done some stuff, and we'll get into it. We'll get into it.
By subtraction.
Stop. Let's move on to the running backs. Only 2 notable moves in the running back market. James White was he's remained back in New England. Whatever. That running back room is not great right now. Regardless of that, James Conner and Chase Edmonds. Chase Edmonds signed first. He's moving on. He's leaving Arizona. He's going to Miami. 2 years, $12.6 million. And James Conner, they let Chase Edmonds walk. They said, James Conner, you're going to be the guy. Arizona keeps him 3 years, $21 million.
What do they think?
I love it.
Tell me why you love it.
Because all they need to do is have James Conner and they can draft a young running back. You can always get a running back that's going to be some serviceable talent in the draft. You just need another guy in there. And James Conner, if you're going to say we still want to build off of this running game, James Conner was the guy to build off of. Chase Edmonds, yes, he definitely was that change of pace guy. He brought in a little bit of life, especially once things started to taper off when Kyler Murray went down and DeAndre Hopkins. He stepped up. He tried to fill that role within that offense. But steadily, week in and week out, James Conner was that workhorse back.
I agree with that. I guess I'm not agreeing with them letting Chase Edmonds go.
I think they tried, and Chase Edmonds was like, well, if you're going to feature James Conner more, I'm moving on.
What the hell do you think he's going to do in Miami?
Hey,
that's a built-in committee. What are you talking about? There is no look. Jonathan Taylor and CMC comes over there. Trust me, they're a part of a committee. Yeah. Even I'm talking about today.
I get it.
That's all I'm saying. Now the flip side is this: James Conner, phenomenal year. Had him in one league. Loved it.
It was great. It was fantastic.
Even though when I drafted him, I hated it. I was just forced to draft him. But yeah, cooler heads prevailed. He sat on my bench until he blew up. And I'm like, okay. With that being said, let's just take last year out.
Yes.
I've seen James Conner as a featured back. You, sir, have not been.
And this is
Oh,
why
you gonna cut me off?
this is exactly why I'm saying.
Hold on. You have not looked good as a featured back.
Yes.
I know, and I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
However, Chase is already established.
Yes.
That's all I was getting at. I don't think just any rookie back that they're going to put back there is going to complement him and with how that run game was supposed to run, because Chase was an extension of the passing game.
But I think that it could work better because the reason why, first of all,
I gotta
less
see
money,
the player first.
and two, you're getting a guy with fresher legs that can come in and just you're really what I think that you need. I get what you're saying about him being able to come out of the backfield and be a pass catcher. James Conner can do that to some extent, and if you bring in a young guy, if he's doing that from day one, that's already built in. Like that's not something that's not able to be learned, is what I'm trying to say.
We'll see. I'm just saying I've seen him be the feature guy. I know it's
and that's what I'm saying.
Pittsburgh.
They have to bring somebody else
Right.
in, but I'm thinking that they're going to bring somebody else in cheaper that can still bring Chase Edmond level.
I mean, but then I could be blowing this all up, and this could just be attributed to a horrible offensive line that Pittsburgh had that we were just wasn't talking about.
That's also true.
So moving
on. Guys still out there on the market right now. Tariq Cohen, who isn't able to pass a physical apparently.
Wow.
Carlos Hyde, they just cut him from Jacksonville. Rashad Penny, Melvin Gordon still out there on the market. I'm surprised they're not trying to get him back in Denver right now. Sony Michel, Leonard Fournette, and Cordell Patterson are all out there on the market right now. Let's look at the tight ends. A lot of movement happened on the tight end front. It started before free agency opened, the legal tampering period opened the week before. We had Mike Gesicki, Dalton Schultz, and David Njoku all get hit with franchise tags, all making that $10.9 million this year. Zach Ertz, he gets a 3-year extension, $31.7 million for Arizona. So he is going to be locked in that role with Kyler Murray over there, or hopefully Kyler Murray. We'll talk about that story in a minute.
Oh, you've seen that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, all right.
Evan Ingram moves on from the Giants and goes to Jacksonville on a 1-year, $9 million deal.
I actually like that deal, but I like that for him. Let me explain something. This is the most. It's gonna sound so asinine to go from New York to Jacksonville, or to go from Jacksonville to New York. Anyway, I like it for him because anytime you can escape New York in any capacity, you have to see the toxicity that's going on with the Giants organization. Kenny Golladay, I'm a year removed, and I have more resolve now than I ever have in my whole life. Dude, I would never. I lost no sleep talking about. I was spot on with this one, and I knew it from the beginning. I just needed to just to play out. Now it has played out. I'm only saying this for Evan Ingram, sir. Congratulations for having enough foresight to look around and see the hell that you were in and watching this empire crumble before your footsteps. Now, you have not played worth a damn. With all that being said,
absolutely not.
And I'm going to say, there's no player that can make this boast that has sported a Giants jersey anytime in the recent history. That's how bad I don't care who you are. You can't fix this. But the fact that he had enough sense before his career completely flattened out to just get away.
Yeah.
Even at the hands of the Jacksonville. Look, dude, you just bettered your whole.
I mean, he basically got the franchise tag.
Yeah, and you bettered yourself. Man, now you're in Florida. You're welcome. You're in warm, sunny Florida. Losing ain't gonna feel so bad when it's 20 degrees with a 10 degree wind chill and you sitting on the sideline not playing, losing. Nobody wants that, and the Boo Birds come out and so on and so forth. In Jacksonville, there won't be any Boo Birds. There won't be anybody to say it. Nobody's gonna see what's gonna. Nobody's gonna watch.
All right. All right, Mo Alley Cox.
But I do like the signing for Jacksonville. I thought it was aggressive. For what it was worth, I know.
You're giving a target to Trevor Lawrence,
and that's what I'm getting at. Precision. I mean, if they wanted to go and get efficient,
is that
players,
you
they have done
Christian Kirk instead of getting one of these other guys
They
in the wide receiver game.
PR stunt move 100,000%. That's why I don't even want to. It's the dumbest trick. They had to. That's their splash pick. They splash move. You know what I'm getting?
That's the issue. Okay, Mo Alley Cox stays in Indianapolis on a 3-year, $17.6 million deal.
No, I'm kidding.
God, I don't understand. CJ Uzomah, Cincinnati, moves on. He goes to the Jets. Uzomah, what are you doing? What are you doing? You were in the freaking Super Bowl.
When was he on the block? What the hell? I couldn't even believe when I seen his name on the list. I'm like, that can't be the same guy.
3 years, $24 million.
I didn't even know he's a freaking free agent.
I didn't know either. When I saw it, I was like, what? I went through this. I did not find his name anywhere.
I thought he got released to something like they were just like, we just can't afford to keep you or something. Like, what? As you were just saying. Were they not just trying to build this dude up like he was going to be that next piece?
He's the next Rob Gronkowski. I don't get it. But speaking of, the guys left on the floor here of the unrestricted free agency, Rob Gronkowski is out there. Possibly going to go back to Tampa Bay. I don't. If he doesn't go back to Tampa Bay, I think he's going to go back to retirement.
Yeah, Buffalo was trying to make a push, but that's I couldn't.
The fact that they haven't done it by now, I think it's done.
And now Tom Brady, he's not going to Buffalo.
Yeah. Gerald Everett in Seattle, he's still out there, or formerly with Seattle. Max Williams actually just
replaced.
Max Williams just actually got re-upped with Arizona, so that's no longer on the floor. O.J. Howard is out there, and Austin Hooper just got released today as well. So, no, I don't even want to get into it.
You want to get about the tight ends? Okay,
no.
we'll move on.
All right, offensive line.
That's for another day.
Yeah. We got a couple retirements on the offensive line front. Starts with Alejandro Villanueva with Baltimore. He retires. He's calling it a career. And Andrew Whitworth got that title, and he is also going to retire as well. So the Rams are a little bit weak at left tackle right now. But other guys that were signed, Ryan Jensen from Tampa Bay stays in Tampa Bay, 3 years, $39 million. Brian Allen stays with the Rams, 3 years, $24 million. Brandon Scherf, the big splash guard of this free agency with Washington football team, goes to Jacksonville. Why are we doing this? 3 years, $49.5 million. I get the money is there for you, Brandon, but you are not winning a Super Bowl there. Laken Tomlinson, also, you were with San Francisco. What are you doing with the Jets? 3 years, $40 million.
$3 million, 3 years, $40
Connor
million?
Williams, I actually kind of like this one. Dallas, Connor Williams moves on, goes to Miami, 2 years, $14 million. So cheap deal for Miami. Also a really good deal for Connor Williams, getting to come help out, protect Tua over there. Stop having to scrape him up off the turf. James Daniels gets to team back up with Mitch Trubisky over in Pittsburgh, 3 years, $26.5 million. Austin Colbert goes from the Rams to the Carolina Panthers. I don't have the details of that contract, but he is over there. Alex Kappa goes from Tampa Bay, moves on to Cincinnati, 4 years, $40 million, trying to protect our friend over there, Joey Burrow. Mark Glanowski, Indianapolis, moves on to the Giants, 3 years, $18.3 million. Orlando Brown and Cam Robinson both got the franchise tag, 1 year, $16.7 million. Roger Saffold moved on from Tennessee, is going over to Buffalo on a 1-year deal. And Ted Karras from New England moves on to Cincinnati as well to go ahead. And I think he's listed as a guard, but I think they're going to try to play him at center. He's 3 years, $18 million. Going to help the interior of that offensive line to stop having 9 sack games against oh my God.
What?
Breaking news.
Okay.
Von Miller just signed with the Buffalo Bills. Out of left field, out of nowhere, that he was supposed to be going to Dallas, apparently. It was either going to be the Rams or Dallas. He was going to return to the Rams or he's going to move on to go to the Cowboys. And now he is on a 2-year deal with Buffalo.
And they just signed O.J. Howard.
Buffalo?
Yes.
Let's go. Buffalo. God, the AFC is just deep. Oh my God. I'm only going to be watching.
I'm sitting here trying to read the Von Miller, and I don't even see it. I see Bill signed O.J. Howard first. I'm like, wait, what? And now Bill signed Von Miller to 100. The world is blowing up as we're recording here, and
oh, I love it. Because I was really afraid Von Miller was going to go to Dallas, and I didn't like it at all. But with him with Buffalo, oh yeah, you don't like this at all. Von Miller going to Buffalo, he's going to get himself another chip. Sorry, I mean, we were talking about offensive linemen. Sorry. We had so Ted Karras goes over 3 years, $18 million to Cincinnati, helping try to keep Cincinnati in this battle here. Shaq Mason gets traded. He goes from New England to Tampa Bay. They get a 5th round pick back. New England does, and New England gets to keep bolstering that offensive line around Tom Brady. And then finally, Ben Jones signed on a 2-year, $14 million deal to stay in Tennessee. There's a lot of offensive linemen still out there. Mm-hmm. Jermaine Ifedi, Riley Reif, Trent Brown, Morgan Moses, Eric Fisher, Dwayne Brown, Andrew Norwell, Bradley Bozeman, Matt Paradis. The list goes. J.C. Treader, Brian Balaga is out there. The list goes on and on. There's a lot of offensive linemen. Chicago, protect Justin Fields. Go get some of these guys. I know you got Lucas Patrick. That's not enough. We need more, especially now that we lost James Daniels. Go get some of these guys, please. I'm begging you. Eric Fisher, please come to Chicago. Let's talk defense. A lot of movements happen on that side of the ball. Actually, that's where most of these deals are flying in at. Mm-hmm. Like we said, Von Miller, edge rusher, just went ahead and goes over to Buffalo. I have no. Do you have details on that? On that contract? Did you see?
120 million, but I don't know how many years.
Oh my God. 120 million.
Yeah, it's just 120 million.
Where do they have that money?
6 year, 120 million.
Okay, that makes a little bit more sense. But that's still 20 million a year. Where do they have that?
Be pushed. I mean, they're gonna front load them probably 60% of that, and then and the signing bonus, and then he's just gonna. I don't know. They might shuffle out another 10 over the course of the next 5 years to him from the cap. It's just cap structuring.
Wow, that is an insane deal. 6 years. I love it. That is a great deal for Buffalo, especially because they already franchise tagged, or they picked up the team option on Ed Oliver as well, defensive tackle, just bolstering that pass rush, which is really what they've been needing really, really badly. But Von Miller over in Buffalo, that's going to work out beautifully for him and for Buffalo.
All right. Kansas City. I've been trying to sit here. I've been beside myself, right?
Hey. They went out there. They got themselves a safety.
Yeah, after we lost to Honey. Kansas City does not have a defense at all now.
No, they don't.
And they have done little to nothing on the offense to even give me any kind of
they got Josh Gordon.
Crap hope that maybe the offense can carry them for most of the year. And I'm looking at a limping team. They're gonna limp into the playoffs and get trounced out in the first round.
I don't see them as a first round exit.
They are hustling backwards fast.
I will say we have seen the NFC West be all of last year was the best team in football, the best division in football. That has completely shifted over to the AFC West right now. The AFC West is absolutely stacked right now.
And every team in the West is doing something besides Kansas City. Oh, we're going to franchise tag one of our offensive tackles. Oh,
got to let burn for a year.
Great. Oh, we're going to make this big safety signing. We're not going to talk about how we just let everybody else go from the safeties. We don't have anybody else, so we just got this guy. I don't have a problem with the guy alone. Yeah, all I got a problem with is if you just got him, but he leaves. What was the whole?
No, I recognize you're looking at it from the fact that Tyrann Mathieu is gone. I get that, but you have to recognize that the safety that they signed actually is a very, very good safety, and he's younger.
Great. But there's two people on that team on Kansas City that you could not have lost. One on each side of the ball. And Terrence Matthews was one of them.
Tyrann Mathieu. I don't know why you can't.
Terrence Matthews. I don't know his damn name. The Honey Badger. He is synonymous to the defense as Patrick Mahomes is to the offense. You cannot lose one of the other. My point is, these are the only two irreplaceable players. You can't replace them. You can't replace their skill set, their talent. I think you could replace Kelsey. I think you could find a way to replace Hill. You can find a way to replace any of these other players. Any name you give me on either side of the ball, you can find a way to replace that intangible. Their intangibles to what they were to Kansas City were detrimental, and we already knew the defense was on life support, and so this was even even bigger.
Here's where I feel with the Tyrann Mathieu deal. I recognize what he is to that team, but that is just one position. If you can get a guy that's comparable in that respect, that can play at that level, which I believe that they can get that guy, and I think that they did with the safety that they signed. We'll get to that in a little bit here, but they also need defense. They need freaking corners to play man up. They have to have that.
I got all that.
So
I was speaking to the state of affairs right now.
I know.
And looking at the AFC West.
And we'll get to it because the defensive back situation.
The race has started, and that horse is still in the stall. I'm like, what?
You also do have to recognize that.
I'm sorry. We just re-signed Chad Henne. Because that's what we needed to do. That was important. That was
important. That backup quarterback is very important.
That was an important $2 million we needed to address right now in day one of the free agency of the new season.
Hey, that just gives you
I digress.
No, it gives you the confidence to know that they are making deals, that they are in the office working right now. So they're doing their job. Just give them some time. You gotta have some patience. It's day one. Relax.
Oh yeah. Frank Clark got a new deal.
All right, Von Miller is off to Buffalo.
Ain't Frank Clark was that? Yeah, that was that dude.
Chandler.
That was that dude running around making fathom tackles, right? That guy. Let's reward them with a $29 million max value contract of 36. You know what? Go move on, because I'm done. Oh my God.
Okay, Chandler Jones goes
coming to an end.
It's not. Chandler Jones goes from Arizona to the Vegas Raiders on a 3-year, $51 million deal.
Huh?
Goes to the Raiders.
AFC West component. Yep. Let's keep it
going.
But
hey, Vegas Raiders did lose Yannick Ngakoue. They shipped him off to Indy in a trade to get back Rock Ya-Sin. So that
still in the AFC. Yep.
Rock Ya-Sin doesn't do anything for you guys, and Indy's not going to do anything because they already screwed up their quarterback situation. So other signings that happen: Emmanuel Ogbah on day one gets a 4-year, $65 million deal from Miami to stay there. Hassan Reddick goes to Philadelphia from Carolina, 3 years, $45 million to really bolster that Philadelphia linebacking core, which was worst in football last year.
Putrid.
Charles Harris, Detroit, stays there, 2 years, $14 million. Malik Collins stays in Houston. God, you guys are just trying to stay in purgatory over here. 2 years, $17 million. Ed Oliver, like I said, gets that team option 1 year, $10.7 million. So he's staying there. Max Crosby gets a massive 4-year, $94 million deal to stay in Vegas. Larry Ogunjobi goes to Chicago, 3 years, $40.5 million. DeMarcus Lawrence, he gets a contract extension from Dallas, 3 years, $40 million. Tim Settle goes from Washington to Buffalo and is a 2-year, $9 million deal. And B.J. Hill goes and gets a contract extension from Cincinnati, 3 years, $30 million. A lot of names left on the board. Oh, sorry, Randy Gregory. I have him under linebackers and not edge rushers right now. So we'll get back to that in a second.
Mm-hmm.
Jadeveon Clowney is out there. Melvin Ingram is out there. Harold Landry, Justin Houston, Jerry Hughes, Derek Barnett, JPP, Nwosu. Actually, I think Nwosu actually just got a deal. Tack McKinley's out there, though. Akeem Hicks is out there. Calais Campbell. DJ Jones, Linval Joseph, Sebastian Joseph Day went over to the Chargers. Sheldon Richardson, Bilal Nichols actually got a deal from the Vegas Raiders. And then, yeah, Eddie Goldman's still out there. Tyler Davis, Carl Nassib just got released, and Matt Ioannidis also just got released. So a lot of edge rushers and defensive tackles, defensive linemen still out there to get deals. Linebacker department, Devondre Campbell stays with Green Bay. I don't know where Green Bay is getting this money. 5 years, $50 million to re-sign Devondre Campbell. Foyesade Oluokun goes from Atlanta to Jacksonville. Again, Jacksonville just ruining free agency. 3 years, $45 million to get one of the leading tackler over the last 4 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Why? Christian Kirksey stays in Houston to probably end his career there. 2 years, $10 million. Preston Smith re-ups with Green Bay as well. 4 years, $52.5 million. Again, how did that happen? Randy Gregory goes from Dallas. Thought he was staying in Dallas on a 5-year, $70 million deal, but I woke up the next morning and found out that overnight he went to Denver and got this a better terms in the deal from Denver. So he's going to go to Denver to team up there with Russell Wilson. So
got that damn bag. That's what he got.
Sure. Well, it was the same amount of money, I think. So from what I'm hearing, sources say that basically they got the deal done with Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
They were ready to sign. They came in, and that day they tried to put in some language in the contract that speaks to back when Randy Gregory was having those issues with marijuana and getting tapped and kept getting suspended in regards to marijuana violations, which isn't a thing anymore in the NFL.
It definitely ain't in Denver.
Exactly, but isn't a thing in the NFL at all anymore. You can't get suspended for that. You can only get fined. And so they were trying to put in language to try to protect themselves from Randy Gregory possibly having an issue with marijuana again. And they were like, what are you doing? No, this is the most disrespectful contract in the world. They threw it basically back on the table. And apparently, literally that day, they called up Denver and was like, hey, we're flying your way. Let's sit down and talk. They put down the same deal without the language about weed. And they were like, all right, sign away.
And there he is with $28 million guaranteed.
Yep. So I just, again, how stupid can you be, Jerry Jones? Worst GM right now. And then Khalil Mack actually gets traded from Chicago to the Chargers.
Horrible.
Chicago gets back a second round pick for this draft and a sixth round pick next year. I feel like we could have gotten so much more, but here's one thing I do like about it. I said that I'm okay with us trading Khalil Mack away. It wasn't for that package, but regardless, he is off the books. I believe Chicago has the most money next season in free agency. You want to know what that number is? Projected number is going to be for Chicago?
What's that?
$146 million in cap space in 2023.
So they're going to give out 2 big, massive max contracts and then get 4 complimentary things and still have no talent. I'm sorry.
Hey, if Jacksonville is getting,
I'm being pessimistic.
If Jacksonville is able to give out these contracts to get guys like Foyesade Oluokun, whoever is Foyesade Oluokun next year is going to be getting the bag from Chicago.
I'm just going to stop. I'm not going to comment too much because it's still early. I'm just waiting a couple days to see I want to see what the league does first because I think it's too early for me to comment because I'm highly critical because I was expecting about 3 o'clock our time that it's just breaking news across the board, and it really didn't. It was like kind of slowed down. I'm like, wait, what just happened here? And I mean, people are getting signed, and we just heard about the Von Miller thing, but I thought I would have heard that before while I was driving over here, type of thing, and then I would have heard 3 other stories on top of that somewhere else. Today, it didn't happen just yet. So I'm saying I'm going to reserve myself because there's so many free agents still out there. So I don't want.
plethora of
I'm
them.
just saying, as of right now, I'm sucking on sour grapes because I don't like what I'm seeing.
And let's continue with
But
that because
yes.
let's talk about the guys in the linebacker department that are still out there.
Go
You
ahead.
got guys like Dante Hightower, Alexander Johnson, Leighton Vander Esch, Anthony Barr, Miles Jack just got released. He's out there. That
Okay.
Miles Jack is a huge one. That's come to Chicago, please. Dante Fowler, Kyle Van Noy's out there. Bobby Wagner's out there. Zadarius Smith, Danny Trevathan. We just had to release him on a post June 1 designation in Chicago. So there's a lot of good linebackers out there. A lot of good edge rushers. And there are a ton of DBs on the board. Let's talk about the ones that have been taken off. Jesse Bates got hit with the franchise tag before this whole legal tampering period opened up. And then we saw signings from Quandre Diggs, 3 years, $40 million. Justin Reed, 3 years, $31.5. Justin Reed's the one going to Kansas City. Devin McCourty stays in New England on a 1 year, $9 million deal. J.C. Jackson, massive deal, 5 years, $82.5 million to go to the Chargers. Carlton Davis gets to stay in Tampa Bay on a 3 year, $45 million deal. DJ Reed goes from Seattle to New York to the Jets there. 3 years, $33 million. Marcus Williams, massive deal, 5 years, $70 million to head over to Baltimore. Jordan Whitehead goes from Tampa Bay to the Jets, 2 years, $14.5 million. Darius Williams goes from the Rams over to Jacksonville, 3 years, $30 million. Again, why are so many people signing with Jacksonville? I get that they have the money, but you're not winning anything there. And the guys that are left on the board, Casey Hayward from Vegas, Steven Nelson from Philadelphia, Bryce Callahan still out there from Denver, Dante Jackson, Charvarius Ward from Kansas City.
Well, no, Charvarius Ward is signed now.
To where?
49ers.
Good
3
for
year,
you, Charvarius.
$40.5 million deal.
40.5.
3 year. Yes.
What the?
Yeah. Digest that.
Okay. Charvarius Ward, I'm sorry, is a backup. He is a backup corner.
He's a nickel corner.
No, he is a backup corner.
That would be the nickel.
No, it's not. The nickel corner is actually
he's the first one off the
Bryce
bench.
Callahan. No, that's actually a coveted position.
Is it?
The nickel corner.
Ain't that the third corner to come in on a coverage?
No, the third corner to come in is replacing the second corner when he needs a breather.
Oh, interesting.
It's its own position because that's Bryce Callahan's position. He couldn't play straight up, went man to man on the outside. He was our nickel corner in Chicago, and that was his specific role. And then when Vic Fangio went over to Denver, he jumped ship with him. So it was two diametrically different positions. But Charvarius Ward is a bona fide backup cornerback. He is a number 3 option at corner, and he's 3 years, 40.5. What are we doing, San Francisco? All right.
Let's keep going on the list.
Robert Alford's out there. Patrick Peterson, Joe Hayden, Russell Douglas, Mike Hughes, Chris Harris, Akila Witherspoon, Eli Apple, Sidney Jones, your man, Tyrann Mathieu, Marcus May, Kareem Jackson, Jerron Kearse, Xavier Woods. Actually, that's a lie. Xavier Woods has been signed somewhere.
Yeah.
Deshaun Elliott, Terrell Edmonds, Jabril Peppers, Rodney Harrison, Kayvon Frazier.
Woods is with the Panthers.
Oh, with the Panthers, yep. Tavon Young, AJ Boye, Janoris Jenkins, Stephon Gilmore, Xavier Howard. I'm keeping an eye on him with Miami. He's been making some noise that he doesn't want to be there any longer. Now, with a change in head coach and GM, possibly he might stay, but I would still be seeing him possible as a trade asset. But also, just before we actually started recording, Landon Collins got released by the Washington Commanders. So Landon Collins is now out there on the market. Again, Kansas City, Chicago, the defensive back and wide receiver is where they need to be playing. Chicago specifically, go fix that offensive line. But there's a lot of guys out there, and there's been a lot of movement as well. So
Yeah.
it's been a crazy 3 days. I have a headache. Just trying to keep pace. I also feel like I have whiplash, trying to check all these screens. But Jesus,
I understand. There's a lot happening here, and obviously Buffalo.
Where did Buffalo come from in that deal?
Man, they came out guns blazing.
Yeah. The AFC is going to be... I'm going to be glued in on CBS all next season.
Oh, I don't like this. This is a problem. This is a problem in the AFC.
The problem is that the NFC is going to be a snooze fest next year.
It's already starting to... Ain't much to come like okay, come on Rams and Tampa Bay,
they got to get under the salary cap.
Like I was saying, you know what I'm saying, for them when they put out their finished product, it's gonna come at the tail end of the process. Like
Tampa Bay is at negative $10 million, and
we're not gonna get any.
The Rams are at negative $8.
So I don't even think we're gonna get into the front to steering that ship right into about July. You know, like that's we're gonna have to wait for that story, but. With that being said, that just leaves the NFC wide the hell open, but not in a good way. It's just kind of like last man standing ish.
Whoever can stay the healthiest.
You know, it's just kind of like we just kind of survived. You know, and here we are. But the AFC, man, it's like, good Lord, you talk about where the powerhouses are.
I mean, I can't even.
The NFC looking like a mid-major right now. For just where the scales of power has shifted, you know, like
I mean, Miami looks like they were a team last year. They were 9-8. They were knocking on the door and making the playoffs, and they've made some splash signings. New England, they haven't been as noisy, but they definitely still. I mean, they were a playoff team last year.
And still should be in the mix this year.
Yep.
So.
Buffalo, obviously, they're trying to get a Super Bowl. Cincinnati, they're making some signings. They're trying to beef up that offensive line and fix that. Pittsburgh, Cleveland is regressing. Baltimore's trying to get back into that conversation. Tennessee, they re-signed some guys. They have let go of some guys as well, but they're trying. The entire AFC South, the rest of the AFC South is basically a wash. AFC West though. Kansas City, Vegas, Chargers, and Denver all should be in the mix for playoff seeds. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That is 10 teams already that we're talking about should be in the mix to at least make the playoffs.
We have established 3 bubble teams already. You know, it's just they're deep.
It's insane.
That's not even we're not even talking about the intangibles of the unknowns, and all of a sudden that 11th team that steps up, or that 12th team. For that matter.
Cleveland could right this ship and get it figured out. I mean, especially if they trade for Deshaun Watson.
Exactly.
I mean, if Indy can get Jimmy Garoppolo and they still need to sign some guys because they need somebody for him to throw to.
Right.
Like, they can figure that out. They'll be in a pretty decent situation. Jacksonville's spending all the money acting like they're trying, but I don't really think that that's the thing. But then you go look at the NFC, you're like, all right, you got Tampa Bay, you got LA, you got Green Bay. Yeah. And then, like we both said, we're not high on Dallas. Philadelphia's trying to make that push.
Washington.
Minnesota doesn't have any money to do anything. Chicago hasn't made a move yet. Detroit's Detroit. We're waiting. Carolina or New Orleans gets Deshaun Watson. Obviously, they'll be in the mix, but we don't know if they're going to get him yet.
What the hell is going on in Arizona?
Yeah, what is Arizona doing? What's San Francisco? You just signed a $40.5 million deal to Travarius Ward, out of all people. And then Seattle is just that's just not a thing anymore. They might be the new Detroit Lions.
Yeah.
Or they might return back to the new Detroit Lions.
Or the Houston Texans. The Jets, the basement teams.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, because
we didn't even talk about the
get
Giants.
Out of there. And yeah. Yes, the new Detroit. but yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I need to see the next. Get back at me in 72 hours from now. I need to see a few more days. You know what I'm saying? Because we're just in day one.
These will keep happening in waves.
Right. And then some days are much more, active than others. I'm shocked today was not as active as it was. I'm shocked. But with that being said, that just tells me come tomorrow, just hold on, people. It's coming tomorrow.
I mean, there have been a lot of big major signings, and we got one big one today. And I mean, but for the last week, there's been big news every single day in the NFL for the last week. So this is the time to be an NFL fan. So keep your eyes peeled and definitely stay tuned. We'll keep everybody updated on the deals as we continue to go here. We'll get into the NBA soon. I'm still trying to get caught up and understand everything. Lakers suck, obviously.
You caught up?
That is the story. That is every single day in the NBA. But
you suck and we love it.
I can't wait for them to not make the playoffs. Oh my God.
Yeah. And please stop blaming Russell Westbrook for this. You suck before he gets there. You suck with him. So stop. Let's just stop it. No bubbles to save you.
Regardless, we'll get into that soon as we're in the home stretch. I think there's like 7, 8. I mean, there's about 14 games left in the.
Was it a full 82 games this year?
Yeah.
Should they end in that? Should they? I guess it'd be almost in April, but it should end like in the second week of April. But whatever. I don't know how they. But I don't know when they started this year.
I can't remember.
So they're probably 8 games. I don't know. I have to get the math.
We're close. We're in the home stretch. We'll definitely be talking about the playoffs once they arrive. So stay tuned for that. And yeah, we got more NFL and NBA content on the way. We're back. We should be back to our weekly schedule. Everything's settled. We took a little bit of a break, and we're gonna just keep plugging away at this thing.
I'm excited because the off season is when we come to life because there's so much to unpack here
and so much to talk about. So
yes, and the draft's not even here. Oh my God!
I have not even gotten into my draft analysis. I have not looked at a single piece of film for the NFL for the draft yet.
It's not time. Everything has its place. But my point was just like we're not even at the draft yet.
I'm going to be worked like a freaking horse when that time comes to start watching that because I got to watch NBA and I got to watch film.
Oh, we've been there last year.
Ugh, my brain is going to explode.
You love it, but it's brutal.
I know.
It's a brutal process.
So we'll get into all of it. Guys, stay tuned. And we're just going to make the content as enjoyable as possible. So please stick with us.
Yes, and I'm happy to be back.
Yeah.
We've been out,
2, 3, 4? I don't know. It's been a while.
Yeah. But we back. Spring is here.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah, new beginnings. Let's go.
Feels great. All right. Well, thank you guys for listening. Let us know what you guys think about some of these signings and who else is left out there and what you guys think about that. And we will catch you guys in the next one.
Have a good one.